HDB because I already said my condo is a 3-room, my HDB is a 5-room. But if you call it now, my condo is I buy because it's a freehold. Then there's facility, there's swimming pool.
Of course, private house, you have your own facilities, I get what I mean here. But for public-wise, I would say I would be more convenient living in a neighborhood like HDB area. More friends.
If a public housing or property went up to $1 million, you cannot mortgage to the bank and take the money out. You have to sell it.
Here in Singapore, when you buy a house, it's not yours because you cannot do what you want with it. You must always go to the HDB for permission. Everything you do, you got to ask the HDB. Even though you pay so much, you still got to go to HDB.
HDB prices for resale flat now I think is going down. But we got it at about, I think I would say an average price lah. That is about 650.
About 2.6, 2.8 million.
Per month rental for me right now, $138. It's better if it's much more spacious. And then the rental is quite high also. For a 2-room flat for 3, more than enough space.
In one way, I'm happy. Another way, I like a 3-room flat because sometimes when my children come, I can give them 1 room and I can stay in 1 room.
I don't think my generation will be able to afford expensive housing. With the government help, I think a lot of people rushing in right now. It should be okay. But before that, there's no way you can afford to buy one.
I bought it about 10 over years ago, so it's pretty low. So I bought it, it's a new one, so it's about 300 plus. We didn't really save up because the government did give us grant and the HDB also give us some loans. So from there we can just proceed to start off with my family.
Los Angeles, the home of some of the most desirable zip codes in the country. But right at the heart of this wealthy metropolis exist conditions that have been described by the city's own newspaper, the Los Angeles Times, as a national disgrace. One expanse of 50 city blocks is an area that's become synonymous with poverty, crime, and homelessness. It's existed for decades and has dogged successive mayoral administrations that have tried to eradicate it. It's called Skid Row, and is home to an estimated 2,000 members of Los Angeles County's homeless community.
LA has one of the highest rents in the nation. And the reason why there's so many tents out here is because people can't afford to live in a house.
Steve Richardson, who goes by the name General Dogon, is an activist at the LA Community Action Network, which advocates for the city's homeless community.
The majority of the people that you see sleeping on the streets are black, and these are folks that fell through the poverty level. It makes me really mad.
Long the subject of local and national concern, Skid Row recently garnered international attention when it became the focus of a report.
In North America, owning a home is an asset. It's an investment. Everyone knows this. In Japan, that's not necessarily the case. Japan's population has peaked, is now in decline, and with a low birth rate and little immigration, it's not set to change. Housing prices are prominently a function of supply and demand, and every year, supply increases while demand doesn't. The only logical way for prices to go is down. And when you have homes in places where people no longer want to live, they get abandoned. You might have heard that Japanese homes are worthless after 30 years. The thing about that is that you have to separate the building from the land. It's the house on top of the land that's historically been worthless after about 30 years, not the land. That's not to say that land hasn't devalued. It has. Big time.